Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wynn, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3. Here. J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation today will be delivered by Kimberly Willis, who is the Chaplaincy Telehealth Coordinator at the VA here in Fort Worth. We appreciate very much you coming out today. After the pledges, please remain after the prayer, please remain standing for the pledges.
Let us pray. Eternal and sovereign God, we come before you today with humbled hearts and gratitude for this day that you have provided. We thank you for this awesome responsibility to be agents in governing, to make decisions that impact the hearts and lives of your created. Endow us now with the wisdom given to Solomon, the compassion of Mother Teresa, who lived a life lived out for the least of these, and the internal fortitude of Martin Luther King, Jr., to stand for justice even in the midst of overwhelming adversity. Open the ears and soften the heart of this court to your gentle leading as they redistrict voting precincts and decide upon contracts, so that no voice is silenced or overlooked. As appointments are made to the Historical Commission, Child Protective Service Board, Tarrant County Hospital Board, Tax Increment Finance Board, and other such appointments, let them be men and women after your own heart. As we come also to celebrate the accomplishments and commitments of these men and women, we ask now that you bless, O God, these officers, court officials, and all that come before them with your spirit of truth and integrity. Bless their families, their communities, and this great nation. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Jack, I really didn't expect you to be here today. I knew you would be here had the game had a different end, but and I thought that I might be wearing something red today all the way up until the very jubilant end.
I had jury duty yesterday in Hood County, and I was on a panel, and it came out somehow that the defendant was from Louisiana.
That doesn't surprise me.
And the attorney asked me if I had any biases. I said, no. I said, well, I kind of do for about a week or so. He said, what are you talking about? I said, well, Arkansas, LSU, and so I either said the right thing or the wrong thing, but I'm here today. So.
Well, and I saw Mr. Wright yesterday, and I told him that I was going to bring something for him to wear, and then I just got caught up. My wife had other designs on my plans yesterday evening, and then we had the Mayor's Council meeting, and so I just clean forgot about it. But I might find something for you or Mr. Beecham to wear maybe next week. I really anticipated Mr. Beecham not being here today, so.
I don't think that's the way it works. You get one shot at it.
He's not usually speechless about much. Thank you all. Mr. Manius, would you like to make some agenda announcements?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. We have numerous announcements as it relates to the agenda this morning. So, first of all, under the Administrator's Office, we're going to ask that the Court hold item number 2 for 1 week. Also, under the Administrator's Office, there is a revised court communication as it relates to the computer-related training. This was just a funding year change and nothing else. Under elections, item 8D1, there is a revised court communication that Mr. Rayburn will be presenting to you this morning. Under facilities, item 8E1, we're going to ask that that particular item be held for 1 week. Also, members of the court, under human resources, Item 8F1, that's the personnel agenda. There was revised court communication in your red folder this morning, and HR will be here to identify those changes for you. Also, members of the court, on the Sheriff's Department, item 8I1, we've been requested to remove that from the consent items, so we'll be discussing that when we get to that particular area within the agenda. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Somewhere back here, I'll get back to the agenda. Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of November the 26th.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have several proclamations, resolutions, certificates of appreciation, and employee recognition today. So we'll begin with Commissioner Brooks. I believe you have a proclamation for us.
I do, but before I introduce the proclamation, I would like to announce that next Tuesday we will be visited by the O.D. Wyatt Singing Chaparral Choir. This is the gift to Tarrant County from Precinct 1. We've done it for over 20 years. And it starts our Christmas season. So be ready for some Christmas cheer next week. Now, we have a proclamation for World AIDS Day. World AIDS Day was this past Sunday, so the proclamation itself has already been presented. But we should be mindful as a community that AIDS and HIV remain epidemic in certain portions of our community and pandemic across the world. It is not over, it being the progression of this disease. So let's be mindful of those who are struggling against the effects of the disease and of those who are working toward its eradication. I move approval, ratification of the proclamation for World AIDS Day.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Our next, we have a resolution regarding mental health court diversion program, and I'm going to ask Judge Carr to come forward as I read this into the record. Whereas it is recognized that the mentally ill are overrepresented in the criminal justice system, creating a need for corrective court with the goal of diverting the nonviolent mentally ill offender from the criminal justice system. And whereas the Tarrant County Mental Health Court Diversion Program, established on December the 1st, 2003, is the first and oldest program of its type in the state of Texas. And whereas to date the program has served 418 individuals, of which 85% of the 386 who have successfully completed the program have no new Tarrant County charges. And whereas the success of this program is directly related to the commitment of the program staff as well as the supporting agencies to restore the participants to healthy, crime-free lifestyle. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby commend the members of the Tarrant County Mental Health Court Diversion Program for their outstanding achievement and exemplary success, in witness whereof we have hereunto set our hand and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 3rd day of December 2013. I'll move its approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And before I come to present that plaque, I also want to take an opportunity to ask the court to approve a certificate of appreciation that we're going to present to the Honorable Brent A. Carr in gratitude for 10 years of leadership and dedication to the Tarrant County Mental Health Court Diversion Program that has served the 418 individuals which has had a tremendously successful outcome. Judge Carr, you exemplified an outstanding character and a commitment that is required to achieve excellence and success in diverting nonviolent mentally ill offenders from the criminal justice system. There would not be a specialty court of this type in Tarrant County without your passion for the betterment of our community. Your innovation and heartfelt service cannot be replaced. We really cannot thank you enough for what you have done, not only in this particular court, but you have always sought out to find those folks who there may be a different way or a better way, a way to keep them out of the criminal justice system as such. And not only do we owe you a great deal of thanks, I know that the citizens of Tarrant County, they have no idea what you've done to help not only those in an unfortunate situation at that time, at that particular time in their lives, but really to help all of the citizens of Tarrant County. And you know, this is kind of the second mile, what I call second mile giving. It's not something that has to be done. It's something that you have a passion for, not only in this area, but in a lot of other areas. You seek out those particular things that can be done better, and you make the effort to see that they're done better. We can't thank you enough for everything you do in that regard. I'm going to move approval of that certificate of appreciation. And
Show a second from the entire
I'll
court.
second it, and we'll all say aye.
Aye.
I'd just like to quickly introduce, this is the real heart and soul. Linda Collins was the first employee of the program, and I know she won't mind me sharing that she has a special needs child, so for her this has been a very personal issue. Bart Miller, who is our second program, Linda is now the mental health coordinator for the county. Bart Miller, our second manager, now is with the VA, is unable to come today. We have the great fortune of having Catherine O'Markill, who moved over to us from work she was doing with the family law undertakings. Rachel Calderon has been the heart and soul of keeping all the plates spinning at the same time. And my good buddy, who's been with me from day one, Cam Leary, is the case manager, and this is really the heart and soul of what we do, and this is where the heavy lifting is. And if anybody deserves a round of applause, it's these folks. You got a bunch of big hearts. This ought to be the big heart where I'm going to get back here. You know, you come on forward, because I'm going to get back here and give him his certificate of appreciation, and then we'll all kind of look at the camera and smile for a while. County equipment.
We're going to have to budget her account.
She's going to make you carry it. And now we get to do one of my most favorite things, and that's to recognize our employees for their 5th, 10th, 15th increments of 5. And it really is a fun time because it's an opportunity to say thank you in a very small way. We wish that we could do much more. We cannot begin to tell you how much we appreciate the way you do your jobs day in and day out, and the impact that it has not only on the other members of the Tarrant County family, but really upon all the citizens of Tarrant County that come before you, some in not the best of circumstances, but you still treat them with the same courtesy and respect that you treat any other individual with, and we appreciate that very much. The routine for maybe the 5-year members who have not been here, you're the rookies. You rookies, you stand up when I call your name or what sounds like your name. I mean, if it's, you kind of know where you are in the alphabet. If it sounds like your name, you need to go ahead and stand up. And then remain standing until we complete that group and we have a chance to thank you. Beginning with our 5-year employees, Deborah Archie with the District Attorney's Office, Rhonda Bonner with Sheriff Confinement, Rita Castillo, Elections, Devanya Elsey, Public Health. Yeah, that's one of those where you just stood up because you knew where you were in the alphabet. Irma Martinez, Elections. I hope y'all took a van down here this morning. Anna Marino, Elections. Jason Murphy, Sheriff Confinement. Maria Ramirez, IT. Shannon Reeves, Human Resources. Priscilla Smith, Public Health. Teresa Steele, Tax Office. Clyde Tuck, Sheriff Courts. Jeremy White, Facilities Management. And Tisha Williams, Public Health. These are our 5-year employees. Now you can be seated. Thank you all very much. Now for our 10-year employees. Christopher Miranda, Elections. Charlie Akamus, Sheriff Confinement. Ronald Berkeley, Precinct 4 Operations. Amy Ballstein, Sheriff Communications. David Evans, Judge of the 48th District Court. Terrell Hayward, Sheriff Patrol. Joe Jackson, Sheriff Confinement. Andrea Jacobs, District Attorney's Office. Wallace Jones, Sheriff Confinement. Joe David Rubalcaba. Yeah, you stood up. You knew where I was, didn't you? Yeah. He could see that one coming. Nicholas Seifert, Precinct 1 Operations. Sandra Sosa, Facilities Management. Sandra Tilley, Criminal Courts Support Staff. And Stephen White, Medical Examiner's Office. Let's give these 10-year employees. Thank you. Now for our 15-year employees. Robert Carter, Facilities Management. William Devine, Juvenile Services. Herman Down, IT. Divya Gupta, IT. Rosalinda Mendoza, District Clerk's Office. Nancy Otwell, IT. Philip Sawyer, Juvenile Services. Ronald Shipley, Juvenile Services. Noah Torres, Public Health. Beverly Wanza, IT. Beverly. And Michael White, Juvenile Services. And these are our 15-year employees. Now for our 20-year employees, Phyllis Anglin, Criminal Court Number 7, County Criminal Court Number 7. Now this next one, Rodney Apodaca, Precinct 4 operations. We left him off in November, and I told him, I said, the reason we left him off is because he went to the dark side. He used to be at Precinct 3.
Yeah, he saw the light.
And so I told him, I said, we just thought you'd only been with, you'd just been with the county for 10 years. I mean, so from that standpoint. Rodney, thank you. Robert Clark, Sheriff Confinement. Michael Floyd, Medical Examiner's Office. Leanna Judd, Juvenile Services. Beverly Carnes, Public Health. Joel Martz, Sheriff Patrol. Waylon Roberson, Facilities Management. Carl Roberts, Sheriff Court Security. William Sampson, Sheriff Court Security. And Lance Sanders, Precinct 4 Operations. Thank all of y'all. These are our 20 years. Now for our 25-year employees, I called and had an opportunity to chat with each one of them. We're going to begin with John Dunn, Precinct 4 Operations. John said he started out in Precinct 4, has been there all along. He's an operator 4 there and really enjoys working there. He said, what I like most is the people that I have a chance to work with. When I talked with him 5 years ago, he said, this had really been his dream job. He had a chance to work, in construction before the county, and that he just really enjoyed working with the county. It was a great place to work. John has he has one great-granddaughter that is 3 years old, and he has another one on the way, which is also a little girl, he said. Has 6 grandkids. He said, I asked him what had been kind of going on in the last 5 years. He said, we just continue to work hard out there and enjoy what we're doing. John, thank you very much for the 25 years you've been. Next is Carolyn Johnson, who is with County Criminal Court number 6. She wasn't going to be able to make it this morning, but as you see Carolyn, just let her know how much we appreciate the 25 years of service that Carolyn has given to us. Next is Judge Everett Young. Judge Young, I see you were able to come in, and I wasn't sure you were going to be able to make it down. Judge Young replaced Judge Dickens, who had passed away in office, I guess, in 1987. And it started, I guess you were an appointment from Mark White at that point in time.
No, Judge Bates had been appointed by Mark White, and I ran in 1988 and defeated
Ah, okay, and then fill that unexpired term from that standpoint. He said he's seen some funny things over the years. We talked the last time about the individual who had, there was a particular trial. They had to bring someone back, an adult grandfather, had to be brought back from Mexico to actually testify, and that when they went and put him into the witness box and asked him to raise his hand to be sworn in, he thought they were saying they were arresting him, so he raised both hands. He said he'd also had a chance to see a lot of sad things because of some of the, obviously he presides over capital murder trials. In fact, he said he's overseen 16 capital murder trials since he's been on the bench. Again, unfortunately, 8 of those have been executions, and there are 2 still waiting on death row. When I asked him what he liked most, he said, it's the people that I've had a chance to work with. He said, I've really always felt proud of the fact that I was able to work for Tarrant County and to be a public servant. Judge Young, we really appreciate very much the years of service you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you. We've got a total of 650 years of service. Again, it's one of these things where we can't tell you enough how much we appreciate everything you do. We have refreshments back in 504C. We're going to just take a short little recess while y'all head back that way. But again, thank you very much for your service to Tarrant County, and have a great holiday season. How are you? I haven't seen you forever. Did you have a good holiday?
I was elected Democrat.
Appreciate all your service. Court members, you have before you the consent agenda.
Move approval of consent agenda.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Please vote.
There was an
There was,
item-
yeah, we've removed an item. You've got that item right? Item 8I1. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Manius?
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have one additional item for you this morning on the Administrator's section. It's item 1. We're requesting that the Court approve an order which redraws Commissioner Precinct boundaries as it relates to Precinct 3 and Precinct 4. What this would do, it's a small adjustment. It would move approximately 55 registered voters from Precinct 3 to Precinct 4.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
GK, have you checked with the DA's office? It was always my understanding that we could not alter precincts or voting districts after filing had started for an election.
What, in that particular statute allows, if someone is removed from a precinct, for example, these individuals are moved from Commissioner Fix's precinct, there's not a residency requirement. They can still file for that position.
What other particular, does that affect any other races, JPs, any of the other things?
To my knowledge, this was, the map and everything was drawn up by elections, and so they actually were the ones who created the court communication. I think that this is just a slight adjustment on one subdivision that moves the rest of that subdivision into Precinct 4.
So it doesn't, Steve, it doesn't affect any other boundaries for any other deal? Okay. Any other discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your items all have to close, Ray? Mr. Rayburn?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
We're here to ask for a voting precinct boundary change based on the commissioner boundary change that you just approved. There is an election code statute that says you cannot have more than 2 commissioner precincts in a given voting precinct. So we're asking that you approve a change to the boundaries to split voting precinct 3567 at the new commissioner boundary and create new precinct 4694 from the territory that was moved into Commissioner Precinct 4.
Move approval. Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Beecham. Whoop. I just moved right over you, didn't I? Come on down, Tina.
Forgot all about me, didn't you?
That's right.
Good morning. We only have one item for the court this morning. We're asking the court to receive and file the personnel agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Now, Jack, whoops, Jack's not coming down.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm subbing for Mr. Beecham today. We have three items for your consideration this morning. The first is a bid award recommendation for RFP 2014-015. This is for hair testing supplies and laboratory confirmation testing services for CSCD. We're recommending award to the primary and secondary vendors listed on your communique.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. The second item is for request for qualifications for 2014-002. This is for mental health services for the Public Health Department. We're recommending the following vendors be included in the pool of qualified applicants. That's PSY Family Services, Lena Pope Home, and Metropolitan Centers for Counseling and Psychotherapy.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And our last item is for bid number 2014-025. This is for signage for the medical examiner's office original building renovation. We're asking that all the two bids that were submitted be rejected. We found out during the course of the evaluation that the Texas Association of Signage, the specifications we had in the bids did not meet the ADA requirements. So we are asking that the bids be rejected. We are going to handle this on a quote basis since it's only about $8,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is the Sheriff's Department. And I asked that this be pulled off the consent just because I didn't quite understand what had happened, and it looked like we were fixing to cause something to be a lot slower than what it may have been. That's yours? You can't have that. I don't know. Okay. So can you tell me a little bit about what happened on this deal?
Yes, Your Honor. Long story short, the Texas Office of Attorney General requires grantees to go every 3 months to submit this paperwork to them. Even though we submitted the grant application and it was approved, I think, on September 11th, they want this paperwork signed every 3 months and submitted to show that we're continuing the VINE program. We've done this in the past, year and a half, 2 years? It's not a requirement that we like doing. It's a lot of paperwork, but it's something that the Attorney General insists must be done.
In the past, when the money has come through us, have we charged any kind of an administrative fee for that, or we've always done the paperwork at no charge?
We've always done the paperwork. In the past, when the money came through us and we paid the vendor, it was only once a year. In this case, the state changed it because some of the other entities throughout Texas was holding on to the money and not paying the vendor. And they also wanted to make sure the vendor was doing the required work. So now, about a year and a half ago, they changed it where we submit this paperwork and they pay the vendor directly, and they don't pay Tarrant County like they used to for us to pay the vendor.
Okay, so we're doing the same paperwork. We're not having to mess with the check.
That is correct, sir.
And these are quarterly payments now.
We have a motion, and I'll second. Any other discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. Are there any appointments today? There being none, then you have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims, including the addendum. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Mayes?
Your Honor, we don't have any this morning.
moved up pretty quick, especially when we have employee recognition. Then at this point in time, we'll recess our open meeting and proceed to close to discuss items. Having returned from our closed session, we will now address the following matters.
Thank you, Your Honor. Under item C3, the District Attorney's Office requesting authorization for the county judge to sign the release authorizing payment to the county of $30,000 plus the property damage amount, which has already been paid for.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. There being no further business at this time, we're adjourned.